Walt Disney Pictures presents a film by David Lynch.
Rosie, I've got to go see Lyle, and I've got to make this trip on my own.
These are not names that you expect to see in immediate succession of one another, and yet...
I'm Annetto, it's Alvin, and he's driving his lawnmower.
In 1999, Walt Disney Pictures did indeed distribute, though crucially did not produce, a G-rated family film directed by David Lynch, and that movie is called The Straight Story. David Lynch passed away last week. Cinema has lost one of the true originals, a great artist. And so I wanted to pay tribute to David Lynch, but I wanted to do it by highlighting a film that has been, even by ardent fans of David Lynch, mostly forgotten. So what is The Straight Story? Well, The Straight Story is the true story of Alvin Straight, who took his riding lawnmower across the Midwest to visit his dying brother, his estranged dying brother, who he hadn't seen in years.
I just hope I'm not too late. You've got two brothers that haven't spoken in 10 years. I want to sit with him, look up at the stars, like we used to do so long ago.
So happy to be talking about it finally, because this is one of my favorite movies. So I want to make a case here of why David Lynch fans should care, why they should not brush aside this movie, and why audiences who are put off by the David Lynch MO, by the nightmares and weirdness that he brings, why they should see this movie as well. Basically, why everyone should see it. My answer to both of those groups are the same. You can't understand David Lynch without seeing this movie. So what is the first reason that audiences should take this movie seriously as an indispensable part of David Lynch's career? Well, to begin with, it's a family affair. The production designer is Jack Fisk, who is the man on the planet turning the gears in Eraserhead. The film co-stars Sissy Spacek, who is Jack Fisk's wife. The unbelievable score is by Angelo Badalamenti, who composed the anthems of Twin Peaks and Blue Velvet and Lost Highway. The film is shot by Freddie Francis, who shot The Elephant Man for David Lynch, an incredible cinematographer. And that also comes to the writing and the editing, which are both done by Lynch's partner at the time, Mary Sweeney.
I'd worked on this as a producer for 4 years, it just wouldn't leave me alone. Mm-hmm. And then I decided I wanted to write the screenplay because I knew how I wanted the story to be told.
She and her childhood friend, John Roach, sat down and wrote the script. They wrote it pretty fast. They took the whole journey. They went and interviewed many people, talked to the Straight family, and wrote a script that I think, of all the scripts I've read, I've really only liked 4 scripts, and this is one of the 4. I loved this script. I didn't think that I would love it. And so once I read the script, I was there.
Every scene in the movie comes directly from Mary Sweeney, even the most Lynchian moment, which is the deer lady who...
I've tried everything a person could do, and still every week I plow into at least one deer. I have hit 13 deer in 7 weeks.
It is quite Lynchian, but it comes from her. You know, we're so used to seeing David Lynch through the prism of what he brought forward into the world from his own mind, especially near the end of his career, when you're talking about Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire. These are things that come directly from David Lynch's nightmares and subconscious. But how does he respond? How does he, in a way, love a script? How does Lynch take a script that really could have been directed by anybody? What did he bring to it that no other director could have or would have done? The first has to be his total control of pace and tone. This is a remarkably patient movie, and it is a movie that is about the journey. And so Lynch is actually the perfect person to bring this story to the screen, because he is a director who understands the moments in between the moments. I think especially of a moment where Alvin Straight is passed by cyclists who are in competition on a circuit. And the movie pauses and it takes a breath and it allows you to simply look at and hear the cyclists as they go by. David Lynch, crucially, was also the sound designer on this film, the way he was for every film.
Doing good.
And that's another unique thing that David Lynch brings to all of his movies, is that sense of the atmosphere that surrounds everything. On that point of sound design and the moments in between the moments, David Lynch does something here, technically, that I've never seen before or since. There are moments where the camera hangs back and observes a moment of dialogue between Alvin Straight and a passerby. But the thing is that the audio hangs back as well.
Yeah. They gave you a plate of her brownies. Yeah. How's that for timing? Janet makes the best brownies in Fayette County. Yeah.
They're observational, and yet somehow they're giving Alvin Straight a kind of privacy that you wouldn't think you would get in a movie that is all about this man on this odyssey. And yet David Lynch gives it to him. And that's to me a sign of tremendous respect that Lynch has for the material and for the man at the center of it. And he brings a similar level of respect and control and beauty to the ending, which is a scene that I will not spoil. The whole reason to recommend this movie is the ending. And I can't believe I've gotten this far into this video without mentioning the astonishing central performance by the great Richard Farnsworth, who was nominated for an Academy Award for this role. Now, Richard Farnsworth is a fascinating individual. He was a stuntman originally, and he was actually in one of the chariot races of Ben-Hur, and his parts grew because there was something about his face that held a camera, his eyes, the way that he spoke, another true original.
If you mean by perfection, just doing the best you can with what you got, I'd say I was a perfectionist.
I encourage everyone to seek out the career of Richard Farnsworth and watch this movie, if for nothing else, for this performance. I will talk about a scene that comes close to the end, and for that I'll turn to an excellent interview done by Mark Cousins with David Lynch. You should check this out. I'll link to it below. It's on Mark Cousins' YouTube channel. Mark is an oddball as well, so he probes Lynch in all the right ways.
Okay, well, I'll say what I think is the best scene. It's near the end of the film, and Alvin goes to a bar, and he has a beer for the first time, and he's very, very near his brother's house. He's gone on a long journey, and it was something to do with the pace of that scene.
Well, that scene seems a little irrelevant, and yet I don't know why, but always I felt that scene was critical.
There's an interesting rig you got out there. Make it up the hill okay?
That hill and 200 more just like it.
How far'd you come?
From Iowa. I'm headed for Lyle Straight's place.
Iowa. My God, you must be thirsty.
It has to do with being near an end and wanting to prolong something.
Now, this notion of what he's saying about prolonging the end, you can't help but think about that when you think about the death of David Lynch. This is a movie where he reckoned with mortality, and that's what prolonging the end is kind of about. You're journeying there your entire life, and yet you also want to hang back, and the people who love you want you to stay.
Another beer?
This will do me fine. I wonder, could you point me to Lyle's place? I haven't seen him in an awful long time.
This journey that he's going on, where he's going to make a final reconciliation with a loved one, it's in many ways a metaphor for his death. And I think one of the most crucial things this film brings out about David Lynch is that he is not a cynic. he does bring an ironic darkness to American suburbia. He's created some of the most disturbing moments that you could ever experience in cinema. But there's a reason they're disturbing. It's because he doesn't want them to happen. He believes in goodness, and he believes in the goodness of the human spirit. And he simply, I think, just had access to the realms that can corrupt the spirit. He could see that clearer than really any other director. But this movie shows you only the heart and the goodness. And it shows you an old man who is in an odyssey to reclaim something that he's thrown aside, and that is the love of a brother. Listen to this piece of an interview where he talks about angels, and the interviewer cannot accept that he believes in them.
You don't literally believe in angels?
Oh, yeah.
No, you don't. Do you?
Yeah.
Is that because that you were taught to believe in angels as a kid?
Have I seen and seen them? No.
You don't literally mean top of the Christmas tree type thing? I really don't believe that you do.
There are many things, I think, that are out there that we don't know about, but sometimes, you get certain feelings.
There's something to be said for a director who, without cynicism, does not cast aside the supernatural and the way that an angel might work in our lives. And after this, David and Mark Cousins talk about the concept of the eye of the duck, that there are these things in art or film that cannot be taken away, that make sense of the whole. There are scenes that make sense of the bill and the head and the wings and the feet, so to speak. In that case, can a movie itself be, in the span of a career, the eye of the duck, the thing that makes sense of it all? Well, I think if there is such a thing, if there is an eye of the duck of David Lynch's career, then it would be The Straight Story. I'm Michael Coy. This is the Catholic Film Club, brought to you by Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas. And David Lynch, I hope that you meet your angels.